Today I'm going negative on purpose because I keep seeing buyers step on the same landmines in Toronto and the GTA, and they don't realize it until after they close. Now, I'm not saying these homes that I'm about to show you are bad forever, but I am saying never buy them without knowing what you're actually taking on, because some of these mistakes can cost you tens of thousands of dollars and a lot of stress. Now, if you're new here, I'm Carl. My team and I have helped 300 plus families buy and sell across the GTA over the last 15 years. My job is to help you make smart decisions that feel smart now and in 5 years, not just on closing day. So if you want to connect with me, follow the links in the description below. I'm always happy to chat. One reason you wouldn't want to buy a home would be open permits. If a property has open permits or incomplete inspections, you are buying uncertainty and potentially walking into a huge financial trap. You don't really know what was done, what was approved, if it's been assessed, or if it will pass a building code inspection. So this also goes for recent renovations. Are there permits for them or not? So in Toronto, you can check permit application status online and see active permit info. You just go to the building permit application and inspection status page, click here, then you type in the address and it will show you if there are any open permits and the status of it. If there's an open permit and you close on the home, you assume all liability of repairs or adjustments needed as per the inspectors. So this makes buying a home extremely risky to you. So be careful of those. Number two thing I want you to watch out for, never underestimate foundation issues. So sometimes there's hairline vertical cracks, not always a big deal, but when you've got horizontal cracks, long cracks that look like they're pushing, cracks that are wide or stair stepping or show movement, right? If you have doors or windows suddenly sticking in multiple places, sloped floors or gaps that keep growing, you want to bring in a home inspector to assess, or even a foundation expert. But if there's a lot of worrying signs in a property's foundation, these are the most expensive repairs you will run into, and most of the time, it's better to just find another home to call home and avoid the headache altogether.
You walk away?
I walk away!
I also never want you to treat a flip home like it's a new build. Some flips are great, but many are lipstick flips. So they put fresh paint, they put on some floors, a trendy kitchen, and behind the walls, you might have the same old problems. So if it's a flip, you have to assume that they optimize the home for speed, not longevity. So you want to really look hard at the plumbing upgrades, not just the fixtures. Check out the electrical panel and wiring, the insulation and ventilation. Is there waterproofing? And again, permits. Was this work done properly? Most of these homes take shortcuts in renovations, and they're trying to maximize profitability over workmanship.
It's always about the money.
Now, before we get into number 4 of homes not to buy, if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot, and I appreciate it. Now, number 4, never assume homes with tenants and assume that they'll just leave if you plan to move in. This one is massive, and buyers keep learning it the hard way. If you are buying a property with tenants and you plan to move in, never assume it's going to be simple.
It is very challenging, and it's depressing. It's hard.
Even if the seller says they'll be out, your plan needs to be really airtight. It needs to be written, needs to be done legally, and it has to be timed properly. So you don't want to take possession without the home being delivered vacant. And in your purchase agreement clauses, it should stipulate the closing date will be extended by 30 days if vacant possession is not delivered on closing day, and that you may walk away after that period if it's still occupied. You don't want to assume a tenant if that's not your plan, and you do not want to trust someone or take their word for it. You have to protect yourself and your family. Now, number 5 things to watch out for, homes to watch out for, is knob and tube wiring. So this is a type of wiring that is outdated, and over time it possesses risks like serious fire hazards. Even if it's still working, the electricity, the real issue is getting home insurance with it. So many insurers, they won't provide or renew coverage on homes with knob and tube wiring, and some will require replacement for coverage. This can also go for aluminum wiring, though TD Bank will cover that. So if you absolutely love the place, you will need to hire a licensed electrical inspector to assess it. But you will likely need to replace the knob and tube wiring, which can be costly. And number 6 is never treat a 100-year-old home like a normal purchase. So Toronto has some amazing century homes. I love them. I love the character of it. But if a home is 100 plus years old and it hasn't been properly maintained or updated, you can be walking into a terrible situation. Old plumbing, old electrical, old structure and moisture issues. Now, this doesn't mean that you should never buy a 100-year-plus old home. It just means that if you're going to buy it, you need the right expectations and you need the right inspections. So century homes are usually not one renovation. They can be a long-term relationship. Before we get to number 7, what are some other red flags you watch out for when looking to buy a property? I didn't cover them all in this video, but I'd love to hear what your opinion is in the comments. Now, number 7 is new builds. Now, here's what people assume. Everyone always thinks new means great or perfect, and it's not true. Build quality can vary massively by builder, and lately, I've seen more situations where the quality of work is just not there, where inspectors are finding sloppy workmanship, incomplete finishing, issues that should have been caught, and sometimes things that feel like basic standards, common sense, weren't done right. So if the developer doesn't have a proven track record, you better have a very strong inspection. You want to see documentation of what they did, and you're going to need a willingness to walk away if it's messy. Now, number 8, homes to watch out for, is that you never want to ignore perimeter drainage. So if the grading is wrong, if downspouts dump water at the foundation, if the lot slopes towards the house, water is always going to win. And water problems don't just mean, oh, a little damp. It can turn into serious basement moisture issues, mold, a cracked foundation, extensive waterproofing needed, and long-term headaches. So when I'm touring homes with clients, I'm always paying attention to where the water would be going, where would it be running to the home. And number 9, never overlook the electrical panel plus amps. So older or smaller homes might have 100 amp service, and sometimes that's fine, but 200 amps is basically the modern norm if you want flexibility. We're talking about having a EV charger for your vehicle, a hot tub, renovations or bigger appliances, future proofing. So if you're buying a home that's 100 amps and you plan to renovate or add something major, you want to price that in early. Now, number 10 thing to watch out for is easements. So an easement is a legal right that allows someone else, it could be often a utility or municipality, to use a portion of the property for a specific purpose, potentially. And this at times can affect where you can build things, where you can fence, additions, if you wanted to put a pool or a shed. And depending on the easement, it could impact resale value, depending on the situation. So if there's an easement, you want to understand it before you fall in love with the home. And number 11 is linked homes. Now, a linked home is basically a detached looking home that's physically connected to the neighbor, usually at the foundation or the footings. But why does this matter? Some buyers don't care, but some buyers do. And so that can impact resale demand and value because it sits in a weird middle ground between detached and semi. But the complications come from linked homes. It makes renovations or repairs needed a bit more complicated as your neighbor will be involved. So if you're buying a linked property, you just want to be aware of the cons. And number 12 is illegal basement apartments. So basement apartments are interesting because they can help in 2 ways. So 1, they give you flexibility, and 2, they can actually sometimes help you qualify for a lot more mortgage, depending on the lender and how the income is treated, right? You don't even need to rent it out, but you could qualify for a higher mortgage because it has it. But here's the warning, illegal basement renovations have been quite popular, and they can become your problem from the moment you buy the house. And in places like Brampton, this is a big deal. And so, and most cities has a formal process for registering additional units, 2-unit dwellings, and there are violations, right? If things weren't done up to code, right? If there wasn't a permit done when they put in that separate entrance. So you could end up if the property isn't up to code, you can end up on the hook to correct that regardless of the cost. So if there's a basement unit, you want to know, was it constructed properly with permits? Does it meet basic safety expectations? Because looks nice is not the same as legal. Now, most homes aren't advertised as legal basement apartments, but if they are, they usually command a higher premium. Now, these aren't never buy homes because the homes are automatically bad. They're just never buy without knowing what you're getting into, because the risks are easy to ignore and they're expensive to learn the hard way. If you're planning a 2026 move and want my honest take, book a chat through the contact link below. We can do a phone call or a video chat, whatever you prefer. As always, thank you for watching and take care.